Hello everybody, it's Merlin here, also known as Joe, and we're continuing our Sopranos retrospective, Sopranos with Dan from Film Fanatics.
Hey guys.
And we're going to finish up Season 1 here with episodes 11 through 13, and then we're going to do a Season 1 wrap-up, kind of going over our thoughts about what Dan felt and reflecting on that from my perspective. So, let's start, Dan.
Alright, well, these last 3 episodes of the season are all just really intense.
Told you.
Lots of stuff going on here. So, episode 11 is called Nobody Knows Anything. and this is where we talked on the last episode of this show about the mob aspect and how it was sort of like starting to creep in, maybe in episodes 9 and 10 a little bit, but that more than anything it was focused on the family.
Yes.
These 3 episodes really bring it into the mob mentality here. So, first off, we start about this Vin Mazakian leading Tony to have to make a difficult decision about somebody. And we see some of the people that we mentioned in our last episode that we hadn't seen a lot from, maybe popped up here and there. Paulie Walnuts is prominent in this episode. And also Junior, Mikey, and Chucky Signor. I don't know how to pronounce that,
I think it's Chucky Signor.
Chucky Signor, okay. They are conferring with Livia, who is, of course, still in the home, and they are trying to consolidate the power of the family. Pussy gets busted here with a bunch of guns, so that's not good. And then
I believe he runs away, and they wonder, why'd you run?
Yes, exactly.
That's not what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And they are wondering if he's wearing a wire. Basically, Vin is telling Tony, listen, there's a rat in the midst. You know...
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Is this the one where Tony tells Paulie to figure out if Pussy has a wire and they go into the shower?
You're absolutely right.
He's like, hey, why don't you take your shirt off? Or like, I don't want to do it. Like,
yeah,
why don't you want to do it?
I've got heart problems. I've got, you know...
It's like, take your shirt off. And he just kind of like confronts him and it gets really tense there for a second.
Yeah, so because they think that maybe Pussy is the one wearing the wire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going on while Carmela is really fed up with Livia. She tells her to cut the crap. She says, you know, you are just being ridiculous. You're being a bitch, basically.
Told you it wouldn't last long.
So that happened, which was very interesting. Vin ends up actually killing himself off a bridge because of just everything going on. And then they find out at the very end of the episode that Big Pussy's all right. It's Jimmy wearing the wire.
Little Jimmy.
That's like the very last scene of the episode. So, first of all, what a cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So there's a lot going on here, as there is in each of these last few episodes. I like that we're really getting into the mob stuff.
Okay.
We've gotten a lot of the family stuff, and as we've said on the show, I really enjoy the family aspect. I enjoy the therapy aspect. But... it's called The Sopranos, not The Family Hour.
True.
So it's great to really start sinking our teeth into some of the mob plot lines and really tying together what we've seen thus far in the season. You know, the FBI being on the trail. Yeah, and it's a shame. I like Vin a lot.
Oh,
he was in maybe 5 episodes here.
Good character.
And then, you know, he kills himself, unfortunately, but he was a really good character.
Yeah.
And a great actor as well. I believe it's John Hurd.
Yes, actually.
Right.
From other things have you seen him in, actually?
The dad in Home Alone is always, you know, my go-to for him. But he's been, you know, in a lot of different things.
Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, this, again, is like leading up to... Something else. So this isn't really like a hard-hitting episode by itself, except for... like the stuff with the wire, I guess, where they're trying to figure out who the rat is. They also stick the rat. Oh no, maybe that's in an upcoming episode about the rat in the guy's mouth that they kill.
I believe
to
that's
let
later.
them know that it's a rat. I think that might be in episode 12. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this one a B+.
Okay.
I think there's a lot going on, but not. It's all leading to something.
Something else better, I'm sure.
Yeah, sort of like a part 1.
But I know you like that ending there. You really did like that.
Yes, I did.
Who really is the rat?
Yes, I did.
That was good.
Because I mean, they led me to believe it was pussy as well.
Because he seems really suspicious.
And he
He's really
seems like
nervous.
a weirdo when he asks him to take a sauna.
Yeah, it seems like okay, that's obvious. Then it's like this other guy who's kind of in the background that nobody suspects. He's the actual.
And
one.
then it turns out it's him. Yeah. So we don't see a lot of Melfi in this episode.
No.
But we've had a few Melfi-centric episodes. I don't know if Meadow and AJ are even in this episode. Wow. They may pop up, but
they probably were like in a scene.
Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm. But this is definitely the Mafia episode so far.
Yeah.
So episode 12 is called Isabella. This is a very interesting one. Because, first of all,
very interesting.
Melfi figures into this because she's been prescribing Tony Prozac and lithium for his depression, and it turns out sort of having the reverse effect. Yeah, or side effects, I guess. He falls sort of deeper into his depression, and then he hallucinates this Isabella woman who's an exchange student staying at the Cusamanos next door, or across the street, or whatever. Yeah, he can see their backyard, however it works. So, and it seems pretty real.
She's also like this really exotic, really
she's
sophisticated Italian woman.
She gets him.
She really like connects with him, bonds. He's like, wow, really taking her. Like, she's really awesome. I like her. Yeah.
And him and Carmela even got in a fight about her.
Because he brings her up and she's like, you know what? Another woman you're sleeping with, just deal with her then.
Right, so she turns out to sort of be a figment of his imagination in general, to which, when he tells Dr. Melfi, she's like, okay, no more drugs for you then.
It's pretty intense hallucination.
At least not these. But so, right from the start, there's a murder. There's this guy, Donnie, that gets murdered because he was joking about Livia, and they were doing some kind of drop-off, and Junior was in the car and overheard this. And he tells Mikey, listen, he's done.
He said if they're making fun of her, or they're making fun of me.
They could be making fun of me next, or whatever.
So, shut him up. And he's like, well, fine, I'll kill him. And
so he kills him right there. So then also Tony kills a guy who's trying to get a hit on him in his car. And this is sort of a build-up. One guy gets murdered. One guy murders the other guy, I should say.
Accidentally.
And then he gets away.
Because it turns out, I believe, Junior decides to finally put the hit out on Tony.
That's exactly right.
And they hire these two black guys, and it's pretty funny because they try to kill him, but Christopher is actually blocking the way.
Yeah, it's almost like the Keystone Cops. Christopher comes up the one day and blocks him, and so the hitman comes into Christopher.
Hello, sir. I'm a cop, and Christopher's like, I know what cops are like.
Yeah, he's like,
go
where's
away.
your badge?
And just move the car. Like, it's kind of funny actually.
So they come up with they have some static there. And then
they're more successful.
They come back the second time, and so the bullet basically grazes Tony a little bit.
Yeah.
In the upper chestal area.
But I think it's more the fact that he's driving his car and he crashes that gets.
Yeah, that's what really takes him to the hospital. But while he's in the hospital, the FBI visits him there. They offer him some immunity.
Playing that tape.
Yep, they play the tape for him, and then there's a lot going on at the house as well. While he's in the hospital, as he comes out of the hospital, they're having a family meeting. Our friend the priest is there.
Of course,
Carmela's best friend. Tony meets Melfi in her car to sort of talk about everything, sort of lay the law down. And while he's doing that, the family dynamic continues at the house. And Livia does not recognize Meadow. She says, who is this girl? So they think she's going through dementia, maybe, early Alzheimer's. And then Junior pays her a visit at the end of the episode at the home, just saying,
this is complete BS.
Yeah, what was that with the Meadow thing? You don't recognize your granddaughter now?
It's okay,
what's going on?
You tell me to kill your son, and then all of a sudden you have nothing to do with it once he survives.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot happening here, obviously. I really like this episode.
I bet you did, yeah.
Yeah. The Isabella plotline is the hook for the episode, but I have to say, with everything else happening, I don't even really care about that.
Oh, wow.
I
know that they kind of tie into it with the therapy. I think Dr. Melfi says this is kind of another suggestion of your mother.
Yeah, that's true. She brings up Livia again. Which, of course, never goes well.
Never goes well.
I don't know why she keeps doing that.
Well, it's classic psychiatry. You always
it's true. Always bring it back to the mother.
Subconsciously.
Right. So just all the stuff with, like, the hit on Tony, those were two great scenes. The ones with Christopher sort of blocking their entrance. Christopher was only there because he was spying on Tony in the first place.
And why was he spying on him again?
Because...
Was he looking out for him for his safety or something?
Well...
Kinda? Keeping up on him? I forget.
There's various stories, because I don't think he actually ever, like, says the real thing, because he never tells Tony that he was going after
I know that with all the, like, rumors circulating around about everything going on with Tony and with Junior, I think, if I remember correctly, Christopher was looking out for him, but he was also kind of wondering if he was...
I thought it was more like wondering if he was a part of something or...
else.
Yeah, is he actually talking to the FBI?
Or the psychiatrist.
Or the psychiatrist. I think he was just trying to trail him and see what he was up to.
But inadvertently may have saved his life.
Actually, yeah, that's very true. And then, the second day sort of went a little awry, but that's one of my favorite scenes actually in the whole series so far was the car, when he was in the car and they were trying to procure the hit on him.
It's hard to take down Tony Soprano.
Because, he proved his worth here.
Yeah, he wasn't, he was ready to live,
Yep, yeah.
I think he even says that after that he feels great.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
From the hospital, I believe. So that episode's an A- for me. And then we come to the season finale.
Oh, season finales.
Episode number 13 called I Dream of Jeannie Cusimano.
What a good episode.
There is...
Bodies drop.
There's a lot of murder. There's a lot of death in this episode. So Junior is seeing eye to eye on Tony about Jimmy. Saying that he's the rat. Tony finds out about Livia and Junior's plot to kill him. He also warns Dr. Melfi that her life might be in danger because of everything going on. And then Artie Bucco returns. We haven't seen him or heard from him maybe since the first episode. His restaurant, gets blown up in the pilot. And here he is again. Livia telling him from the hospital that, hey, my son did this to your restaurant.
And it's just like completely...
Yeah, like Artie comes to bring her something
Roses
to eat.
I
believe it was something to eat from the restaurant.
Like he always does.
Yeah, nice guy,
Very nice person.
And, just checking in with her. And here she says, oh, you're always so nice to Tony, even after what he did to you.
And you have to wonder, was that her slip-up or was that intentional again, Miss Livia?
I say it's got to be intentional. So this is actually the episode where Jimmy gets murdered. Silvio and Christopher take care of business there. They stick a rat in his mouth to really send the message, that they know he's the rat. So what else? Chucky is killed on his boat by Tony as part of the whole setup with the hit on him.
Taking out everybody.
So that was interesting. What I like to call the most uncomfortable family dinner ever, because Tony knows that Junior and Livia had a hit on him. The kids don't really know much of anything, but they're being very lippy. AJ is getting ready for his prom, which he does not want to go to, so that's a little plot line. Livia is recognizing Meadow again.
How convenient.
How convenient. And then Mikey also gets whacked, this time by Paulie and Christopher, so he's out now. And then Junior becomes indicted for the racketeering and conspiracy charges, so he ends the season,
Which is lucky, because they were planning on possibly taking him out.
Yeah. So he actually dodged a bullet quite literally there. So all that is happening.
And
then there's a blackout, and this is how the season ends. And Artie decides... Well, before this, Artie and Tony have a little powwow where he kind of comes after Tony with a gun, and Tony's like, listen, first of all, if you're going to shoot me, shoot me. Second of all... I didn't start the fire. I didn't do this. I didn't blow up your restaurant. Think about it.
It's a total lie, of course.
It's complete fabrication.
But he doesn't want to hurt him.
Right. I mean, these guys are friends, and he's trying to
funny too,
make him feel better.
You'll see in later seasons, but Artie's like the one friend he has that's actually legitimate. He's legitimate.
I believe that.
He's not corrupt. He's not a member of anything.
He seems like a really nice guy.
He is.
So, that's very unfortunate that he's being lied to, but, at least they make amends because of it, and during the blackout they end up going over to the restaurant. Livia also fakes a heart attack here. This is why she's in the hospital to begin with.
Another great scene with that.
To visit her. Yes, that really was. That's a fantastic scene. You could see why I was saying, though, that Livia, though an awful person, is a great character.
Yes.
You love to hate her. She really is the reason for a lot of what's going on
in season 1. Yeah.
In season 1, because you've got Tony trying to please her in the beginning of the season, and then Carmela sort of going along with it, and then, as we said in episode 11, Carmela has had enough. And then by the end here, Tony knows there was a hit put out on him by his own mother.
He's trying to push everybody against him.
Yeah. And I forget who it is. It might be Junior that says to her something like, "Is this all because
trying to put you in
they put you in the home?" Like,
yeah.
I forget whether it was Junior that said it or not.
I believe it was, yeah.
But, I mean, that was a pretty salient point, you know, because...
it seems a little petty,
It seems very petty. So I give I Dream of Jeannie Kunzabano an A. Great season ender. Great, it's not really like a cliffhanger. Other than the Junior plot line, you kind of wonder what's going on with him now that he's been incarcerated. But a lot of the other plot lines seem to have sort of wrapped up for the moment. So I liked that. So... what a great season.
Well, okay, I guess we have to reflect on season 1 in general.
Let's talk about that.
You've officially seen the first season of The Sopranos.
Yes.
So tell me positives, negatives, initial thoughts, characters you liked, disliked, whatever.
Sure. Well, the negatives are that I think it does take a little while to find this balance between family and mafia life.
I could agree with that.
And even at the end, it really is more about the mafia than the family, and then at the beginning, vice versa.
It's like they split the seasons.
Exactly. But what's great about the final episode here, episode 13, is that it probably is the episode that most gets that balance right. Mm-hmm. Because, it's true that the kids aren't in it that much, but Tony and Livia have a lot going on. And, it also involves the mafia stuff. Mm-hmm. So it really is like the perfect blending of the two worlds.
I think that is something maybe they did have a bit of a hard time finding their footing with. But I know that is much more balanced as the series goes on.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why those episodes sort of towards the middle of the season, like 8, 9, 10...
filler.
Were all seeming to be filler because I don't think they knew what to do. Mm-hmm. They were like, let's have a mafia episode... but let's have it be about Adriana's band that she wants to promote. That wasn't really about the mafia. The other episode that really gets it right is College.
Yes.
Which is, as we said, one of the classics.
Very intertwined. It's
integrated very well.
Side by side.
Yeah, my only issue with that is that it really is mostly Tony and Meadow.
Yes.
Which is cool and great.
I think that just hearing you talk about these episodes in the first season, I think this does actually happen throughout the rest of the series as well. Sometimes they just have individual episodes that are more focused on certain characters. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing maybe, for instance, the Adriana episode was to kind of showcase her character. Because otherwise, we really wouldn't know too much about her.
No, that's very true.
So that might be one reason they did take some of those episodes there.
Well, and there are a lot of characters. I mean, it took me a while to get everybody's name down.
No, but I think by the end, you probably have a good sense of who Paulie and Silvio are, at least.
Yeah, by the last couple episodes, Pussy, and Big Pussy, yeah.
Jimmy, you don't really know, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he goes bye-bye anyway.
But really, I think Mikey, you get a sense of what kind of annoying...
Yeah, I think Mikey
he was kind of
everything.
A subversive antagonist, too. Mm-hmm. Trying to kind of pit Junior against everybody as well, but he's kind of a good guy to take out at the end.
Yeah, he's sort of a troublemaker within the family.
He is. He's trying to stir things up.
But talking about characters specifically, I would say... the strongest character in the entire series is, no surprise, Tony himself.
Doesn't surprise me.
He is the cornerstone, and he is very well written.
Absolutely.
And of course Gandolfini does a great job with him.
I mean,
no surprise there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the side characters, Melfi is good. I loved her in the first few episodes.
Not as
sort
much
of
later
dropping off a little bit towards the end because it's a lot of the same.
Well,
You
that's one thing I think you'll find. There's a lot of that repetition.
Okay.
A lot of the same with her.
Well, I was noticing that the last maybe 4 or 5 episodes that we've had did not, they've really been diminishing his interaction with her until episode 13, where he goes to her office and says, listen, you're in trouble, this and that. And the other thing, she flips out, which is a great scene, but I don't know how I feel about the romance part of their relationship.
Well, there isn't really one per se.
Not yet,
it's
but
more of a infatuation on Tony's part, and maybe a slight one for Dr. Melfi.
Possibly. I think she's got a soft spot for him,
There's a little bit of sexual tension there, but, I mean, if you're worried it's going to bloom into a big romance, I mean, you'll see.
Maybe not, okay.
But it's not heading the traditional way, if that's what you're thinking.
Okay.
It's more, the way you'd think it would be between a doctor and a patient.
Right.
It's kind of, you can't cross that line. But you're right. She does have a soft spot.
She is definitely crossing the line, though, because of that soft spot for him.
But you're right. Obviously, she does have a soft spot for him because he's the leader of a criminal organization. Right, she still really wants to help him, so...
I'm also a little bit hit or miss on Christopher.
Well, that's understandable.
He's an idiot. And, I mean, it seems to me that thus far he's sort of the comic relief of the show.
Yeah.
With his screenplay and just kind of, breaking up the plot to kill Tony by just parking there and, and everything. So... I'm interested to see where his character goes.
He goes places.
But I can't say he's one of my favorites at this time.
What about Carmela?
Carmela I like, but I feel like they haven't really given her enough to do yet. She'll pop up every now and then. Really, the only episode we've seen her have a major plot is the one with the priest.
Which was a big one for her.
Which was a big one, and of course when he came back in recently, it was, a little bit tension filled. Yeah, in the episode he came back recently, he was really trying to put the moves on her again, and he bought her some movie that they had lightly talked about, and she said, "Oh, I hate this actress."
But yes, he's still trying to make the moves on her right now.
Yeah, and she really is. She's smitten, but she's putting the brakes on it.
Well, yeah,
because of how she feels when Tony cheats on her.
I guess. What about the kids, Meadow, AJ?
I'm liking Meadow actually a little bit more and more. She hasn't really done much the last few episodes, and really neither is AJ. But I like AJ. I think he's a good kid. He's a good plot point thus far, and obviously Tony really looks out for him. So he gives Tony a reason to really showcase his love of family.
Fatherhood, basically.
And I think AJ's probably the best example of that. Obviously, he loves Carmela, but there's tons of tension there. And Meadow, he gets along with okay, but I mean, AJ is... That's Tony Jr., he's...
Anthony Jr.
Anthony Jr., so...
well, I know your feelings about Livia. What about Jr.? I know you had trouble with him in the beginning.
I did.
He gets a little bit of development.
He does. I like Junior okay.
He's kind of difficult to like.
He is, and it's the whole side plot. And I know it was like a comedy bit.
Oh, the whole
oral sex thing. His reaction to that really frustrated me.
Immature.
It was immature. It was, I think, really jerky to the woman, putting the pie in her face at the end, and scaring her and basically breaking up with her. And
Junior's a hard person to like sometimes.
Yes, he's a hard egg, I feel like. But I'm very intrigued to see, I think they left him on the best note of anybody.
To see where he's going
to go.
And you know what? If you don't like Uncle Junior that much at the end of the first season, that might turn around.
That's okay. All right.
That might turn around.
I want to learn more about Paulie. I like Paulie a lot.
Paulie's a great character.
He just isn't in it enough yet.
Like I said, there's a lot more Mafia later on. You'll get more Paulie.
Yeah.
Even Silvio gets an episode or two.
Silvio's not bad.
So Steve Van Zandt.
Yeah, I like little Steven, yep.
Pussy, not too much, but I feel like you do get a good sense of his character with the little bit you see from him. There's something going on with him. You'll get a lot of pussy next season, possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. Any important themes you think they touched on in terms of what you're taking from the series that you really think makes it stand out? I know you like some big positives.
Well, I mean, the writing just in general is so great. You know, I feel like the themes of family versus a career that maybe does not always dovetail that well with family.
Disrupting the family.
Is great. Yeah, and it's been probably 15, 16 years since I've seen it, but I remember that being sort of a part of Goodfellas, too, that I really liked.
I think Goodfellas is a big inspiration for The Sopranos.
Okay, that's not surprising.
Because it's taking away a lot of the glory of the mafia. Like, it's still there, but it's a much more realistic, earthy portrayal of what it probably is like.
Right.
And you can definitely see that. I think Goodfellas, Casino, a lot of the Scorsese pictures, I think, are good comparisons for The Sopranos.
That makes sense.
Definitely.
I would like to see, speaking of sort of, themes and plot lines, I would like to see more of Tony's upbringing, because I think the episode we saw in the middle of this season, where we sort of learn how he learns about the family business, was great. So I don't know if there's more there to explore, but
you like those time period pieces where they show some flashbacks of him as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to sort of know where these people came from and how they got to be.
I know you
where
probably would like a lot of those old-timey 1960s flashbacks. It seems like you. But I will say, they don't do them too much.
Okay.
But when they do them, they're very well done and they're very important.
Okay.
Like, I mean,
yeah, because that one was really important.
Yeah, it's very scattershot. Like, I think the next one you might not get till he's like in his late teens or something. But you'll get some important ones. There's definitely a lot of big psychological components. I mean, obviously, Tony's relationship with his mother, his father, just his beliefs about himself as a man and in this society and being an Italian-American. There's just a lot of stuff this show covers, even the first season.
Well, and he is truly conflicted, and you can see that in just about every episode, that there's, he doesn't necessarily, I mean, he doesn't mind capping somebody, but I don't think
he likes to avoid it. He
likes to avoid it at all costs.
Bad business.
Bad business, and we see that, which we talked about in our last episode here, about the soccer coach.
Yes,
that was.
Which was like your favorite thing about that episode, right?
I loved it. I loved his whole sort of dilemma there, because I do like seeing the human side of Tony, which we get a lot of. I mean, he is a very human character.
Absolutely, he's not a caricature.
No, not at all. But then we also see, hey,
he's still a gangster.
This guy put a hit out on me. I'm going to go down to the dock and cap him.
It's like, there's going to be like these factions forming.
Right.
I'm just going to take them out before anything else starts. And he takes care of business, and he does delight in that when he killed Chucky.
Yes, he does.
He's dumped him out.
Certainly does not mind.
No.
And this season did win the Primetime Emmy Award for Best Drama Series, which I believe was the first time a non-network series did that.
Wow.
Because HBO, of course, is on cable. And then also Edie Falco won for lead actress, and it was nominated for like a million other things. Directing, acting.
I think Sopranos is like one of the biggest writers for nominations.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. It didn't actually win for Best Drama Series. It won for Best Writing.
Okay.
For the college episode.
Because based upon what you said, maybe it shouldn't have won Best Drama.
Maybe not this season.
But you know what? It's
maybe not. But I know it does at some point.
It wins a couple, so I know that comes up.
Yeah,
a couple seasons, but that's still good. So overall, you know what? I guess if you could tag a grade onto the season, what do you think would be good?
I would say probably the good average grade for this season is like an A-, maybe a B+.
Sounds about right.
There, because I know there was like a C+ and a B- episode, but let's say B+.
B+ sounds good.
You know. And I know as we get into season 2, you've mentioned that is likely your favorite season.
According to my memory, I feel like season 2 is really good. I'll just give you like a brief preview here. Season 2 is really good because it's kind of it's silly to say this, but it's very much a sequel to season 1.
Okay.
But there are other newer characters introduced, and there's a big dynamic. I think there's a lot of mafia stuff there, and I really am recalling more mafia-related stuff and family stuff on both sides.
Okay.
And seasons 3 and 4, it's basically one big season. And then after that, it kind of it delves into some really radically different territory.
Really?
So,
okay.
Like, it starts getting more experimental. I won't spoil it too much, but yeah, season 2 is a very good one. I think definitely one of the best.
Okay.
But I like most of the seasons pretty equally, so it's hard to pick. But
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what you'll think about the next season, especially.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, one of these seasons can get in the A range for the whole season.
I'm pretty sure it's possible for you.
Yeah. This is very exciting. Next week we're going to do, I guess, episodes 1 through 7.
Why not?
Because we'll just split season 2 into 2 episodes here.
Get it done quickly, so we'll get halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about next week. Then.
Probably a lot to talk about. But again, thank you for the opportunity of exploring this show that I've always heard so much about.
No problem. I'm just glad you're liking it and looking forward to seeing the rest of it.
Yeah, I am.
That's good to hear.
Very much.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, of course, if you like The Sopranos, comment. If you haven't seen it, just let us know what you think about it. And, yeah, look forward to more of these videos.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you guys.